What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Queen Sugar, Season 6, Episode 4. So we start this episode off. We have Charlie getting ready to do a virtual interview with Gayle King. I feel like she's like in New York or something. I mean, away from St. Joe. Because later on, well, I'm skipping ahead. Anyway, she's doing an interview with Gayle King. Talking about, basically they were talking about where she is now and the fact that she's aspiring to go into politics. They go back to the whole thing with her and and her ex-husband, because of course, we remember last week they sort of made their rekindling of their relationship public. And so Gayle is asking her about, his past and the redemption and everything that he put her through. And she said, listen, we are working this out. We are taking it slow, but we definitely have come a long way, and we sort of have circled back around. And, we realized that we want to try to see if we can make this work, It was a good interview. Y'all know Charlie knows how to do it, honey. Charlie knows how to play that game and play the politics of it. And so she did a really, really good job. And remember last week, she wasn't sure if she loved him or not. She wasn't sure if it was the I love yous were there. And so later on in the episode, he sends her flowers and balloons. And that's why I said I feel like she wasn't home, because it looked like she was coming into... she didn't look like she was coming to her house. She looked like she was coming into a hotel room. So if I forgot, if they said that she was away for business, I missed it. I'm sorry. But she calls him to thank him because he sent her a card and telling her how proud he was of her and how proud he's always been of her, and that he signed it, I love you. So she called him and she left this long ass message about always seeing her and being patient with her, and how easy it was for him to love her when things were good, but now she's realizing that he can love her when things are hard. And she ended the call with I love you too. So you see that they've kind of crossed that barrier from I'm not sure if this is gonna work, I'm not sure if I'm ready to put my heart back out there, to all right, let's do this. Now while that's going on, we have Ralph Angel and Darla in bed, having, that morning pillow talk with each other. Everything is good and lovey-dovey. And all of a sudden, they start hearing noise outside. So they go outside, and it's the sheriff. And he want to know what the sheriff is doing on his land. Now, at first, I was thinking, oh, Lord, Ralph Angel, you done got behind. They foreclosing on stuff, honey. But no, that wasn't it. They have a warrant to search the premises based on the information that's in Nova's book. That damn book is biting them in the ass again. Remember, it was that whole story about her father allegedly killing that white man that, was disrespectful to either her mama or to Vi. I can't remember all the details of the story. But they seemed like they had squashed that last season when they realized that the body he was burying, that their mother was buried on that land, and it wasn't, that it was just Nova's bad memory, bad dream. Although I don't think it was Nova's bad memory or bad dream. But neither here nor there. It's really not a whole lot that Ralph Angel can do. He feeling some kind of way about it, which he should. And it ain't really nothing he could do but let the sheriff do what they do, Later on in the episode, we see him take a soil sample. He takes a soil sample out of the ground, and Darla is like, well, what are you doing that for? He said, because I don't trust them. He said, I want to get a sample of what the soil is before they doing whatever it is that they doing. He said, because I know they got a warrant to search, but I don't trust what they may or may not be doing to my land. And so he got Benny to run the test and figure out, he said, so at least I have a baseline so I know what my soil was before they got here. But when the test come to find out, his land is full of pesticide. And what Benny explained was, listen, either whoever put this much pesticide in their land either is a fool or an idiot. He said, and you ain't either one, Ralph Angel. And Ralph Angel was like, that's why my crops ain't been coming in. That's why my sugar cane is some shit. Because somebody done messed up my land. So he, of course, assumes it's the Landrys. And it may very well be, but I'm sure that's going to be a story we'll get later on. I'm sure that's just opening the door to another storyline that we'll get. Maybe the next episode we'll start seeing that coming through. Now, while that's going on, we see Mr. Prosper with his daughter. And we see them talking a little bit, and she's trying to cook for him, and he's like, I ain't hungry, and she like, Daddy, you gotta eat something. You don't eat enough food. What we found out later on is that his daughter can't cook, and Mr. Prosper didn't want none of her food because it was nasty. Because he called Aunt Vi and was like, can you please hook a brother up, because she mean well, but I'll stick to her coffee, okay? So she said, Daddy, listen, I noticed that you having a hard time taking care of some, personal needs, which of course is an embarrassing conversation to have with anybody, much less your daddy. She said, and I understand why you don't want me to help you, but at least let me call a professional to come in and let the professional help you. And Mr. Prosper was like, I don't need nobody to help me take care of my personal needs. I got it. She said, but you don't. She said, I tell you what, I knew you were going to say that, so I done already went and hired somebody. He was like, well, you need to unhire them. She said, it don't work like that. She'll be here. She said, listen, let her just stay for a half a day. Please, just be fair and let her stay for a half a day. A half a day. And Mr. Prosper was like, all right, we can do a half a day. Now, that nurse showed up while he was on the phone with Aunt Vi begging for some food. And she came in, and she was very nice and pleasant. She had her mask on, and he said, are you vaccinated? She said, yeah. He said, well, I'm vaccinated. I've been vaccinated for a while. He said, so if you feel comfortable taking your mask off, you can take the mask off. Baby, she took that mask off and had this beautiful smile. Prosper was like, oh, okay then. I said, okay, Mr. Prosper, player. I'm seeing it. Player right here. So later on, we see them, he asked her, you ready to get your butt beaten some spades? She was like, he said, oh, are you more of a big whisk girl? She was like, however you want to carry it. I can whoop your tail in either card game. He said, oh, you got jokes. Then she get the humming. She's humming some Marvin Gaye and Mary Terrell. Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. And he told me, so what you know about some Motown? She said, listen, I know a lot. I grew up on Motown. He said, you too young for that. She was like, okay, you flirting and everything, but sir, please understand, I'm not as young as you seem to think I am. I grew up on this. And so they were vibing, and it was cute. She got the singing. Prosper was like, oh, shit. I said, Mr. Prosper is player. But before we go there, don't y'all remember like 2 seasons ago, Mr. Prosper had reconnected with like his little high school sweetheart or something? What happened to her? Like, we saw them being all cute. Remember when they was helping, when Charlie was running for city council, and they was working on the campaign together, and they was all making googly eyes at each other? Y'all, what happened to her? Did I miss it? Tell me if I missed it, because I need to know what happened to her. Anyway. So while that is going on, Nova is putting cameras up on the front of the house, the side of the house, behind the house, under the cushion, on the roof. She hiring us. No, I'm just playing. But she is putting up some extra security, because remember, she got that threatening picture last week. And of course, that whole cancel Nova hashtag had gone out. And so it was a whole situation. Her neighbor comes up, and he's like, what's going on here? And she said, listen, I'm just trying to be careful. Everybody around here ain't feeling me right now. He said, well, I thought the, cancel Nova hashtag sort of went away. She was like, yeah, but the police ain't forgot, and I just need to feel a little safer. I ain't feeling too safe about everything that's going on. And he said, well, listen, I don't live that far away. If you coming home and you late, or if it's, you don't feel too comfortable, by all means, hit me with a text. I'll make sure you get in the house safe. Like, I'll keep an eye on you. And she was like, thank you. I might take you up on that offer. Okay. So down to Xavier University, we see Micah and I think it's one of his line brothers, but it's definitely a friend of his. They're talking, and they're again debating about Marcus Garvey and Garveyism and nationalism, and should we go back to Africa? And they're having this righteous black brother conversation, and it was actually pretty decent, a pretty deep conversation. And then Micah says, listen, I gotta get ready to go buy some flowers for my girl. And he busts her out. He was like, oh, Professor or Dr. So-and-so. And Micah is looking at him like, oh, shit, how do you know? He said, listen, I notice how you act when she around, and I notice how she look at you when you around. But don't worry. Michael was like, please don't say nothing. He was like, brother, I got you. He said, but make sure you get her some nice flowers. Don't buy no cheap ones. Get her a nice bouquet. So we see Michael roll up on his professor, doctor, concubine, but ain't really a concubine. And we notice that, he brings her the flowers, and of course her face immediately says, what the hell you doing here? And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, Micah, like, you can't just be rolling up. Like, it was like a big ass bouquet of flowers. Like, first of all, sir, you a college student, and I know you ain't a poor college student, but that you don't, sir, you are dating your professor. That there is no world where that is okay. And y'all, whether it was a real relationship or just a sex hookup, you can't be going around looking obvious. He was like, it just looks like a student bringing their professor some flowers for their birthday. No, sir. No, it doesn't. It looked like either at worst case scenario, you got a crush on her. Best case scenario, y'all are actually in a relationship. People would make an assumption. So she is trying to tell him, sir, like this. He said, well, it's no big deal. He was like, it's your birthday. Come on, let's go do something for your birthday. And she was like, I'm at work. He was like, yeah, but it's your birthday. Like, that, put that stuff down. Let's go do something. She said, Micah, I told you from the beginning, all I was looking for was sex. I thought we was on the same page. I thought you understood. You bringing me flowers, us hanging out for my birthday. I'm living in the real world. I'm an adult. I got a job. Birthday or not, I got work to do. I don't get to just go hang out, like this ain't no dorm room situation. And Michael was like, you know what, you right. But I just figured it's your birthday. I didn't think it was a big deal. She was like, I told you. She said, I tell you what, Micah, I think this might be a little too much. Okay. It's been fun. It's been real. Deuces. And Micah is like, well, shit. All I did was try to bring you some flowers. All I did was try to bring you some flowers. Well, so Micah got dumped. So next thing you know, we see Micah laid across the bed listening to sad songs. And his frat brother come through. I really think that's his line brother. Anyway, he come through and say, hey, we going to that Delta party? He was, Micah was like, nah, I don't think so. He was like, yo, the doctor dumped me. He was like, over some flowers? She was like, I don't know what I did, And he tried to talk Micah into going to the party. And Micah was like, nah, I'm just not really feeling it. I'm not in a good mood. I wouldn't be good company. I'm going to just hang out here. So then he says, well, listen, I tell you what. Why don't we do something different? Why don't we let's meditate a little bit. Micah's looking at him with the side eye. But he sits down on the floor and they start doing meditation. And, he told Micah, he said, listen, what can you lose? Like, what you losing by doing it? Like, we just try it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, okay. So Nova and Prosper's daughter, they end up having the conversation that they need to have. She went by to see Nova. Nova was like, I'm glad that you're here. And she said, I told myself that if I ever got the opportunity to, basically say my piece, I wouldn't get scared and leave. And so he was like, so she told Nova, she said, I was a young girl who got lured, away by an older man, and he took advantage of it. She said, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed the attention, but I realized too late that he wanted more from me than just a flirt type situation. And Nova said something that I thought was really deep. Nova said, listen, I have gone through my memory to remember how things really were and not how I convinced myself they were. Because the mind can be a very crazy, finicky tool. And I said, it absolutely can be. She said, but this the other thing she said that I thought was very interesting. She said, I was a young girl who only saw things through the view of St. Joe. I didn't know what I knew then about sexual assault and what it really was. You know, I listened to what other people said and I believed it. She said, and I owe you an apology. She said, I was not there for you then, but I want to be there for you now. And I'm so, so sorry that I wasn't there for you. I am so, so sorry. And again, I think that's valid because I think sometimes we beat ourselves up for being kids and not understanding. And I understand where she's coming from to say, listen, you were my friend and I needed you. But also understand that Nova was in a weird situation too. One, she didn't fully, again, have the tools that she has as a grown adult now to understand that a grown-ass man preying on a 16, 17-year-old girl, it just ain't okay. Even if she willingly has sex with him, it ain't okay. But also remember that the man that was doing it was her aunt's husband. So the aunt's narrative was this young thing is shaking her ass in front of my husband and they done engaged in a mutual affair type of thing. So I can appreciate that Nova for once did not stand on any type of moral high ground and try to turn this into I didn't do anything wrong. She was just apologetic and said, I'm sorry. I wasn't there for you when you needed me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. And sometimes, you know what more can she do than that? And I know she could do to change it, but I'm hoping that this creates a bigger dialogue where she's going to have the conversation with Vi. She's going to have the conversation with her father because like she said, everybody turned their back on me and believed the worst. And that is hurtful too, because they were adults and they did understand. Now, Nova didn't, but Prosper, that was your daughter. So that tells me that they got some other stuff they need to work out too. Anyway, so Nova finds out, she must have got wind of what was going on. And Nova finds out and she goes to see Ralph Angel. And understandably, Ralph Angel ain't got no whole lot of words for Nova. I mean, understandably so. He ain't got no whole lot of words for Nova. And he's basically like, she's like, well, I'm so sorry. That was just a memory. It wasn't even real. How could they be looking for a dead body, based on that book? She said, I'm going to make it right. How you going to make it right, Nova? First of all, they already got a warrant. So somewhere along the way, they done already convinced themselves that this was a real situation. Okay? Nova, you can't make this right, ma'am. Once again, your book is coming back to bite people in the ass. That's why, child, me and Nova still wouldn't be good. If that was my family, we still wouldn't be good. But moving on. Now, while all of this is going on, Vi, Hollywood done took the baby fishing, right? He done took the little boy fishing, and he's really getting close to this little boy and bonded with this little boy. They went fishing. They had a good time. They caught a fish. And the little boy wanted to put the fish back. He said, I want him to go and have a happy life. And, Hollywood said, I ain't never seen nobody do that. He said, I've been fishing for a long time, and I ain't never seen nobody say, I want to put the fish back so they can live a happy life. He said, you a really special little boy. And so you see Hollywood is bonding with him. His mama and Aunt Vi back at the diner, and she's helping Aunt Vi out at the diner. And Aunt Vi told her, listen, I got this covered, but you know what you can do for me? You can go on and file divorce from your no good ass husband. And of course she was scared about it. She said, listen, that is going to set him off. Like if he decide, if he get wind of the divorce and find out where I am, that's just going to set him off. And I mean, you can see she was absolutely terrified. And Ava said, listen, I've been where you are, girl. I have you. I got your back. I'm going to support you. But that's what you got to move on. She said, you got to, this your life. You got to choose how you want to live it. Listen, I'm here for all of that. She even gave her the name of an attorney from down to the shelter. I'm here for all of that. But I still want to know where this woman come from. And why you couldn't just let her stay at the shelter. Like, what was it about her that made you decide that you was going to play Captain Save-A-Ho? Okay? Because I'm not understanding why she wasn't at the shelter. Why you keeping her in a hotel? Why you bringing her food? Like, what is it that we don't know about this woman? How did you even meet her? Anyway, Nova is down to her house, sitting on the porch, smoking a joint, feeling sorry for herself, because she knows she done got Ralph Angel into some fool-la-la, okay? And her neighbor comes up, and they get to talking, and then the cop pulls up, the guy that she was talking to that told her the ins and outs of what was going on. He said, listen, they coming. He said, I don't know how they done figured it out, but baby, they done figured it out that I was talking to you. They done figured out that you doing the story, so you need to watch your back. He said, I'm about to leave town for a couple of days and let the shit die down, out of sight, out of mind, and you need to be careful. And she was like, well, I ain't leaving. This is my home. He was like, I mean, do you? So the neighbor was like, you want to talk about it? She was like, nope. But the neighbor did tell her a little bit about his history. The neighbor let her know, listen, my mama was neglectful. I was in foster care. My grandmama got us out of foster care. I was an angry guy. I was an angry little kid. But for the love of my grandmother, you know, it brought me out, you know. And you just see that they bonded. Of course, you know, they flirty and smiling at each other and stuff. So then the final scene, we see Ralph Angel out by the he's sitting on the land. They still searching and excavating his land, tearing his land up, and Aunt Vi and Hollywood pull up, and you know, Ralph Angel's like, listen, I ain't here for it tonight, Aunt Vi. I ain't got it in me. And Aunt Vi was like, I am not here to cause you no problems. I ain't here to add to it. I ain't here to blame you for nothing. But I'm here to try. Oh, let me put a pause in that, because there was a scene where Darla was talking to Ralph Angel about asking her parents for some help. She said, listen, they got college money set aside for me, and you know I ain't finished college. That money just sitting there. I know we're in trouble. Them payday loans is adding up. You know, we got the doula. We need stuff for the baby. She said, I'm letting you know that I'm not asking them for a handout. It's money set aside for me. And they probably even forgot it's there. You know, I'm just going to ask them for that money. And Ralph Angel going to say, listen, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I hear what you're saying. I just don't want your mama thinking that I can't take care of you. So can you just hold off for a little bit longer? I mean, it's not a bad idea, but just give me some more time. See, this is the bullshit I'm talking about. So you would rather continuously let your bills get behind and potentially do something illegal rather than take a loan from somebody. Now, last episode, we saw Charlie offer him some money. He don't want to take that. See, a man's pride get him in a whole lot of trouble, because rather than take the money and pay your bills and be all right, you'd rather put yourself in a position to go to jail and not be there for either one of your kids. Real smart, Ralph Angel. So last but not least, while Aunt Vi and Hollywood are out there talking to him, he said, listen, this on Nova. This whole situation is on Nova. And Aunt Vi was like, well, ain't nobody out there. But the face she was making was, I hope they don't find nobody out there. Like, I feel like that's what she was really saying. Baby, damn if they ain't find some bones. And that's where the episode ends. So y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.